In this lecture, we will discuss John Keats, one of the famous poems, Ode on Grecian Urn. What is the meaning of Grecian? Grecian means Greek. So, Ode on Grecian Urn means a poem on Greek urn. First of all, we will discuss central idea about this poem, and then we will discuss each and every line of this poem in detail. So, Ode on Grecian Urn, this poem is divided into 5 stanzas, and in each and every stanza there are 10 lines. So, overall, there are 50 lines in this poem, Ode on Grecian Urn. Now, how did John Keats write this poem? Once John Keats, he visited London Museum. So in that museum, John Keats, he came across a collection of Greek sculpture. And there he find an urn, and on that urn there were so many beautiful pictures. So on that urn, many beautiful pictures were carved. So by looking at this, at that urn, John Keats was inspired to write this poem, Ode on Grecian Urn. And that's why in this poem, John Keats, he describes the pictures carved on the urn. Originally, that urn belonged to Lord Holland. There were Lord Holland's ashes in that urn. Now, this poem, Ode on Grecian Urn, it shows Keats' Hellenism, because you know that Keats was a great lover of Greek art, literature, and culture. And this poem is totally based on a Greek urn. So it shows Keats' great love for Greek art, literature, and culture. So it shows Keats' Hellenism at its best. Now, what is the central theme or the central idea of this poem? Through this poem, John Keats, he talks about permanence of art and transitoriness of human life and beauty. In other words, he presents the idea that human life and beauty, they are temporary, whereas art is permanent. So this is a central idea which he presents through this, one of his most famous poems, Ode on Grecian Urn. Now we will talk about the first stanza. So in the first stanza, when John Keats, he looks at the urn, as I have just informed you, that on the urn, there were so many beautiful pictures. So by looking at those pictures, John Keats, he wonders that what those figures are, what those pictures are. So he tries to understand, of the pictures carved on the Grecian urn. Now, what does he say? So we are going to start reading the text of this poem. Thou still unravished bride of quietness, thou foster child of silence and slow time, a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. What leaf fringe lazent hoards about thy shape, of deities or mortals or of both, in Tempe or the dales of Arcady. What men or gods are these? What maidens lot? What maid pursuit? What struggle to escape? What pipes and timbrels? What wild ecstasy? So that's the first stanza. Now we will try to understand the first 2 lines. Thou still unravished bride of quietness, thou foster child of silence and slow time. So John Keats, he addresses the urn directly, and he compares, in the first line, he compares the urn to a chaste bride. Unravished means chaste bride, or you can say that pure bride means a bride who has not lost her chastity. So in the very first line, John Keats, he compares the urn to a chaste bride, and he calls the urn the pure bride of quietness. Means he wants to say, and then the second line, and then we will talk about the complete meaning of these 2 lines. Thou foster child. Foster child means adopted child. He calls the urn adopted child of silence and slow time. Now, what is the meaning of these 2 lines? So in the first 2 lines, John Keats, he compares the urn to a chaste woman. He says that as a chaste woman doesn't lose its her chastity. Similarly, the urn has also not lost its chastity. Means, what does he want to say? That the urn is beautiful and fresh. That still the urn is beautiful and fresh. And that's why he says that thou foster child of silence and slow time, means that child belongs to the past. That urn, that urn belongs to the past. That urn is old, or you can say that that urn is old more than many thousand years, but still that urn is beautiful and fresh. And that's why he calls the urn unravished, means pure, fresh, beautiful. And that's why he calls it the child of silence and slow time, means the time has kept care of the urn. The urn hasn't lost its chastity. The urn hasn't lost its beauty. The urn hasn't lost its freshness over a long period of time. And that's why he calls urn the foster child of silence and slow time, means the urn is still very beautiful to look at, very fresh to look at. It hasn't lost its chastity. That's the meaning of first two lines. Now, what does he say? A flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. Why? Because on the urn there are so many pictures. And that's why John Keats says that the urn is telling a tale. Tale means story. That the urn is telling a story better than the rhyme. Rhyme stands for poetry. He says that the urn is telling the story more beautifully than a poem, than that of a poem. You must have heard the proverb, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So you must have heard this proverb. So the same proverb applies to this line, a flowery tale more sweetly than a marine. John Keats says that the flower, that the urn with so many pictures carved on it, the urn is telling the story more beautifully than that of any poem. Now, what does he says? Now he guess, he wonders about the pictures which are on the urn. He says, "What leaf fringe legend haunts about thy shape?" Why? Because there are so many pictures, and there is a bordering of leaves. So there is a bordering of leaves, and that's why through this line, John Keats he wonders that which story is the urn telling. Means the urn is narrating which story. So he just makes guesses. He makes guesses that whether this story is about human beings or whether this story is about gods. Because in the next line he uses the word of deities or mortals. Deity stands for gods and mortal stands for human beings, or of both, in Temp or the Dales of Arcady. Dale stands for valley. Temp is the name of the place, and Arcady stands for Arcadia. That is also the name of the place. So, what is the meaning of these lines? Now, try to understand. What leaf fringe legend haunts about thy shape of deities or mortals, or of both, in Temp or the Dales of Arcady? John Gates, he makes guess. He makes a guess. What does he guess? He says that that whether the urn is telling the story about gods or mortals. Deity stands for gods, or mortal stands for human beings. Because John Keats is not sure, because so many persons are depicted on the urn. So now he is not able to guess whether the persons depicted on the urn they are gods or human beings, and that's why he's in doubt, and he says that whether the urn is telling the story, because there are so many figures on the urn, whether those figures they are of gods or of human beings or of both, means whether those figures they are of both gods and human beings who reside in the valleys of Temp and Arcadia. Now, the valley of Temp belongs to the gods, and the valley of Arcadia belongs to the human beings. And that's why he makes a guess, because there are so many figures on the urn. So John Keats, he makes a guess whether the urn is telling whether those figures, they are of gods or human beings, or of both gods and human beings who live in the valleys of Tempe and Arcadia. So he's just making a guess. Now, on the urn, there's another picture, because there are so many persons depicted on the urn. What does he say? What men or gods are these? What maidens loth? Maidens means young girl, and loth means unwillingness or reluctance. What maid pursuit? What struggle to escape? What pipes and timbrels? What wild ecstasy? Now, what does he say is that he finds so many figures on the urn, and that's why he says, "What men or gods are these?" So, John Keats asks whether those figures, they are of men or of God. What maidens loth? Loth means reluctance. There are some women also depicted on the urn, and he asked the question that why women are unwilling, or why the women are reluctant. Actually, what is the scene on the urn? On the urn, there's a scene that some persons, they are chasing some women. Chasing, I think, follow some women. So some men, they are chasing some women. And that's why he says, what made pursuit? What made pursuit means he just asked a question, because on the urn there's a picture, there's a scene that some men, they are chasing some women. And that's why he asked a question that why men are chasing those women. What struggle to escape? And do you know, women are running, they are running away from the men. And that's why he asked a question that why are women running away from men? Because he doesn't know, he is only making guesses. And that's why he says that whether the pictures of the urn, they belong to men or they belong to gods, whether the pictures are of men or god, why the women depicted on the urn are unwilling, why the men depicted on the urn are chasing some women, and why are the women trying to escape from men. So these are the pictures there, and he is presenting the pictures on the urn. What pines and timbrels, what wild ecstasy, because there are some magicians also on the urn. There are the pictures, there are the carvings of some magicians also there, and they are playing their pipes and timbrels. These are musical instruments, so they are playing their musical instruments. And then he says, what wild ecstasy? Ecstasy means overjoy, means each and everybody, the magicians, they are looking very happy, they are playing their music, they are playing their instrument in an excellent way. So in this way, in the first stanza, John Keats, he just tried to understand the various pictures depicted on the urn or carved on the urn, and he's not sure whether those pictures, they are of men or god, and that's why he is making guesses. So that's your first stanza, in which he just wonders about what figures are. Now in the second stanza, John Keats, now he describes the various scenes one by one. So there is, first of all, description of scenes on the urn. In the first stanza, he just makes guess about those scenes, and now he describes the scene one by one. Now he talks about the musicians who are playing their musical instruments. So what does he says? Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. That's very important quotation, you must remember, because it is raised in many competitive exams. Similarly, the first line of this poem is also very important. Thou still unravished bride of the quietness. Therefore, ye soft pipes play on, not to the sensual ear, but more endeavored, pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. Now try to understand what is the meaning of these four lines. In the previous, at the end of the previous stanza, we came to know that there were some magicians, and they were playing their musical instruments. And now John Keats, he encourages the musicians to continue playing. कहते हैं ना, ye soft pipes play on. means he encourages the magicians to continue their music. Why? Because he says, heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. He says that the songs, that the tunes we hear with our ears, they are sweet. But the tunes we imagine, they are sweeter than the real tunes. And that's why heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Means the tunes, the song we hear with our ears, they are definitely playing music. And that's why he says, not to the sensual ear, but more endeavored, pipe to the spirit deities of no tone. He says that the songs, the magicians are playing, clear, that is not for the human ears. That is not for the ear. Why? The songs the magicians are playing on the urn, that is for the spirit, that is for the imagination. But more endeared means more loved, pipe to the spirit deities of no tone. So spirit stands for imagination. He says that the music which the magicians are playing on the urn, that music is not for the physical ear. Why? Because that music belongs to the imagination. Because only a person with the help of imagination, he or she can imagine which type of a tune or which type of you can say that song that magician is playing. So these are four wonderful lines in which he says that the songs we hear, definitely they are sweet, but the songs we imagine, they are sweeter than the real songs. And that's why he asked the musicians depicted on the urn to continue playing music. Why? Because that music applies not to the physical ear, rather that music is for the imagination. And that's why with the help of imagination, that music can be enjoyed. Now, what does he says? There's the next scene. What is seen there? Now he says, fair youth, beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Now try to understand these two lines. Now there's another picture that under the tree, fair means beautiful, a beautiful young man is sitting. So under the tree, a beautiful young man is sitting and he is playing music. He is singing a song. Fair youth beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. So he says there's another picture, and what is another picture? That under the tree, a beautiful young man is sitting, and that person, that beautiful young man, is singing a song. Now, John Keats says that that person or that young man, he will continue singing song forever. Because even after 1000 years, if you look at the urn, you will find the young man singing a song. So there is permanence of art. There is a permanence of art. And what happens in real life? That in real life, a person gets tired after singing for some time. So there is temporariness of human life. Whereas the young person, beautiful young man depicted on the urn, he will continue singing song forever. He will not get tired. So in this way, art is permanent, whereas in real life, a person gets tired after singing for some time. So there is a temporariness of a human life. There's one more theme here. What is there? Nor ever can those trees be bare. Means John Keats says that the trees depicted on the urn, they will never shed their leaves. They will never shed their leaves. They will always remain green. Whereas in real life, the trees, they start shedding their leaves with the advent of autumn. As the autumn starts, so the trees, they start shedding their leaves. So again, there's a permanence of art and the temporariness of human life and beauty and human things. So that's another two very important lines. Now, what does he says in the next some lines? He says, "Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss. The winning near the goal, don't grieve. She can't fade. Thou hast not thy bliss. Forever will thou love, and she be fair." Now, there's another picture on the urn, and what is that picture? On that picture, there's the picture of lover and the beloved, and the lover is trying to kiss his beloved, but there's a gap between the lips of the lover and the beloved, and that's why John Keats, he just encourages the lover depicted on the urn, that the lover should not feel sad that he is not able to kiss his beloved. He should not feel sad. Why? Because no doubt he is not able to kiss his beloved, but his beloved, she will always be beautiful. Whereas in real life, a beloved loses beauty with the passage of time. And that's why what does he say? Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss the winning near the goal, yet don't grieve. So there the picture, what is the picture? Picture is of the lover and the beloved, and the lover is trying to kiss his beloved, but there is a gap between their lips, so the lover is not able to kiss his beloved. So John Keats, he tells the lover depicted on the urn, that the lover who is depicted on the urn, he should not feel sad, don't grieve. He should not feel sad, though he is quite near his goal, but he can't kiss his beloved. Now he tells that why should he not feel sad? He says, she can't fade, though thou hast not by thy bliss. Bliss means your happiness or your wish. Forever will thou love, and she be fair. He tells the lover that he should not feel sad. Why? Because his beloved, she will not lose her beauty. She will always remain young. Whereas in real life, a beloved loses her beauty with the passage of time. Again, there's a permanence of art, that the beloved, which is who is the beloved who is depicted on the urn, she has become permanent. So even after 2000 years, you can see the beloved, and she will always look beautiful. So that's why he tells the lover that the beloved, that his beloved, she will always remain young. She will always remain beautiful. She will never lose her beauty. She will never lose her youth. Whereas in real life, a beloved, a woman, she loses her beauty. She loses her youth with the passage of time. Forever will thou love. And he also tells the beloved, sorry, he also tells the lover that their love will never decrease. Their love for each other will remain the same. Whereas in real life, the love disappears after some time between the lover and the beloved. So again, he talks about the permanence of art, that art is permanent, that the lover and the beloved depicted on the urn, they will always remain young, they will always remain beautiful, their love will always remain the same. Whereas in real life, a lover or beloved loses beauty or youth, and even their love disappears after some time. So that's the second stanza, in which John Keats, he describes the scenes depicted on the urn. Now in the third stanza, he carries the same theme. We also talked about the theme permanence of art in the second stanza and temporariness of human life and beauty. The same thing is presented by John Keats in the third stanza also. He says, "Ah, happy, happy boughs that can't shed your leaves, nor ever bird the spring at dew." Here the word, notice bird, its bid is there, R is extra here. "Nor ever bid the spring at dew, and happy melodist unweird, forever piping songs, forever new." Now try to understand these 4 lines, then we will discuss the remaining lines. A happy, happy bough. Bough means branches. He is talking about the trees. Thou can't shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu. Adieu means goodbye. Now he talks about the trees depicted on the urn. He addresses the trees and he tells the trees that he tells the reader that the trees are happy. The trees are fortunate. The trees are lucky. Why the trees are lucky? That can't shed your leaves. He says that the trees are lucky. Why? Because the trees, they will never shed their leaves. They will never shed their leaves. They will always remain green. कहते हैं ना, nor ever bid the spring adieu. Spring, I think you know, it is a season in which there's a new life, the new plants grow, and there's greenery all around. So he is talking about the trees. He says that the trees depicted on the urn, they are very fortunate, they are very lucky. And what is that they will never shed their leaves, they will always remain green. Whereas in real life, the trees, they start shedding their leaves with the coming of autumn. So again, there's a permanence of art, means the trees depicted on the urn, they will always remain green and they will never shed their leaves. And on the other hand, in real life, the trees, they shed their leaves with the coming of autumn. So permanence of art and the temporariness of human life and beauty. Now come to the next 2 lines. And happy melodist, unweird. Unweird means untired. Forever piping songs, forever new. Now he talks about the magician who is playing on the pipe. So he says that magician, he will continue singing the song. He will continue playing the music. He will never feel tired. Forever piping songs, forever new. He says that the magician depicted on the urn, he will continue playing pipe, he will continue producing music, and he will never get tired. Whereas in real life, what happens that a magician gets tired after playing music for some time. So again, there's a permanence of art and the temporariness of human life and beauty. And he says that even the songs sung by the magician on the urn, they will always be new. Why the songs will always remain new and fresh? Because they are the songs of imagination. So each and every time a person looks at the urn, each and every time a person looks at the magician, so the reader will imagine that which type of song is the magician singing. So those songs will always remain new, whereas in real life, the songs, they become stale after some days. So again, there's a permanence of art and the temporariness of human life and beauty. Now the next 2 lines. More happy love, more happy, happy love, forever warm and still to be enjoyed, forever panting and forever young. Now he talks about the lover who are depicted on the urn, because there's a picture of 2 lovers also, that a lover is trying to kiss his beloved, but he is not able to kiss his beloved because there's a gap between their lips. Now he addresses the lover. He says that the lovers are lucky, more happy love, more happy, happy love. So through this line, he is saying that the lovers depicted on the urn, they are lucky, they are fortunate. Why they are fortunate? They are luckier than the lovers in real life. Why? Because the lovers depicted on the urn, forever warm. Forever warm means they will always enjoy their love. Means here warm stand for passion. Means their passion for each other will never die. Still to be enjoyed. They will always enjoy their love. Forever young means the lovers, they will always remain young. Forever panting. Panting means out of breath, because the lover is chasing the beloved. So they are running, and that's why they are out of breath. So forever they will remain panting. So through these lines, 3 lines, John Keats, he talks about the two lovers depicted on the urn, and he calls the two lovers fortunate. He calls the two lovers lucky. Why? Because their love will have the same passion. They will always remain young. They will always enjoy their love. It means their love for each other will never decrease. Whereas in real life, the lover, they become they lose their youth, they lose their, you can say that, beauty. Even the love for each other also decreases with the passage of time. So again, there is a permanence of art and the temporariness of human life, beauty, etc. Now we come to the last three lines of this stanza. What does he says? All breathing human passion far above, that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Now, what is that one? All breathing human passion far away. He tells the lover depicted on the urn that their love for each other is superior to all human love. All breathing human passion are far above. Far above means better. So John Keats says that the love of the lovers depicted on the urn is far better than the love of the real lovers in this world. Why? What is the problem of the lovers in this world, or love in this world? He says that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed. Here high sorrowful stands for indifferent. Cloyed means satisfied. According to John Keats, in real life, the lover gets satisfied. The lover gets contented after some time. And when they are satisfied with each other, so what happens? That their attitude towards each other become indifferent. So high sorrowful. So that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, because in real life, the lover, they get satisfied after some time, and then they become indifferent to each other. And what happens? Then starts quarrels between the lover and the beloved. And that is expressed through the next line, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Parching means a dry tongue. Means then when the lovers, they are satisfied with each other, what happens? That they become indifferent, and then there start quarrels between the lovers. So that's why John Keats, he wants to say that the love of the lover depicted on the urn is better than the love of the real lovers in this world. Why? Because the lovers depicted on the urn, they will always remain young. Their love for each other will remain the same. They will always enjoy the same love for each other. Whereas in real life, the lovers, they lose their beauty, they lose their passions, they lose their youth. And even after some time, their love for each other also decreases. Why? After satisfaction, and then starts quarrels between the lover and the beloved. Now the next stanza, this is the fourth stanza. In the fourth stanza, John Keats, he presents another scene presented on the, or depicted on the urn. So on the urn, there's another scene, and that scene is of a sacrificial scene. Means some people, they are going to sacrifice a heifer. Heifer means a young cow. So they are going for her sacrifice. So what is this scene? Let's try to understand that scene. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? To what green altar, O mysterious priest? Leadest thou that heifer loving at the sky, and all her silken flanks with garlands dressed. Now there's a scene of a sacrifice. There's another scene, there's another picture on the urn. And what is that picture? That in that picture, that some men led by a priest, they are going to sacrifice a heifer. Heifer means young cow. That some man led by a priest is leading them. So some man led by a priest, they are going to sacrifice a young cow. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? These here stand for men. And now the John Keats, he starts getting that who are these men? From where have they come? Where are they going? For what purpose are they going? These are the question which John Keats he raises. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? He asks that who are these men who are going who are going for a sacrifice? To what green altar? Altar is the name of the place where sacrifice is made. So he says that where means which, where are they going for sacrifice? Who are going? Who are these? He talks about the men, and who are these men who are going for the sacrifice? And then he talks about where are they going for sacrifice? To what green altar? Altar means the place of sacrifice. And where are they going to perform sacrifice? O mysterious priest. Now he talks about the priest who is leading the procession. And he calls the priest mysterious. Why? Because he doesn't know about the priest. He doesn't know that to which city does this priest belong. And that's why he calls the priest mysterious. He says, leadest thou that heifer loving at the sky, that the priest is leading the men, and the priest is leading the men, and the priest is leading the men with a heifer. Heifer means young cow, and young cow is also aware that she is going for sacrifice, and that's why she is lowing, looking at the sky. Lowing is the sound of the cow. So the young cow is lowing, looking at the sky. It seems that the cow is also aware that she is going to be sacrificed. All her silken flanks with garland dressed. Dressed means decorated. And the neck of the young cow is decorated with garlands. Silken flanks. Silken flanks means the neck. So the neck of the young cow is decorated with flowers. Now, what are the next some lines? What little town by river or seashore or mountain built with peaceful citadel is emptied of this folk, this pious morn. And little town, thy streets forever will silent be, and a notice all to tell why thou art desolate can ever return. Now, John Keats, he makes a guess that the people who are going for sacrifice, that to which city or to which town do they belong, and where is the town situated. And that's why he says, what little town by river or seashore or mountain built with peaceful citadel. Citadel means fort, citadel means castle. So he makes a guess. What is the guess of John Keats? John Keats guess that perhaps the people who are going for sacrifice, they belong to a little town, and that little town is situated near the river or near the seashore, or this little town is situated on the foot of a valley or mountain built means it is situated at the foot of a valley, and valley with a peaceful castle on it. Means whether this town is situated at the foot of a valley, and at the top of the valley there is a peaceful port, there is a peaceful castle. So he makes a guess that to which town do these people belong and where is town situated. So he makes guesses that this town, he guessed that this town may be situated by the river or the seashore or at the foot of a hill, where at the foot of a hill and where there is a peaceful fort or castle. Now he says, is emptied of this folk. Folk stand for people, this pious morn. Pious means, you can say that holy. Morn means morning. He says that now on this pious morning, on this holy morning, that town has gone empty. Why? Because all the people of this town has come here, so the town has gone empty. And that's why in the next line he says, and little town, thy streets forever will silent be. He says that all the people residing in the town have come out, so the town has gone empty. And that's why he says that the streets of the town will always remain silent. Why? Because all the people of the town, they have come out, so there's nobody in the town, so the streets of the town will always remain silent. And not a soul to tell. Here soul means person, and in that town there is not a single person to tell that why is the town empty, why thou art desolate, can never return. Means there will be no person, there is no person to tell that why the town is empty, and where the people of this town have gone. He says that the town will always remain empty. Why? Because now the people who have come out of the town, they will never return. So in the fourth stanza, John Keats, he talks about the sacrificial, describes the sacrificial scene depicted on the urn. Now in the fifth and the last stanza, John Keats, he comes back to reality. So far, he was lost in imagination, but now he comes back to reality. And what does he says? When he listened the word return. If you remember John Keats' poem "Ode to a Nightingale," so in that poem also John Keats, he gets lost in imagination. But when he hears the word forlorn means lonely, he comes back to reality. Similarly, in this poem also, up to fourth stanza, he's lost, completely lost in the world of the urn. But when he hears the word return, so he returns to reality. And that's the fifth stanza. In the fifth stanza, he comes back to reality. Now, what does he say? Oh, Attic shape. Here, Attic stands for Greek. Fair attitude means he calls the urn beautiful. Here, attitude stands for specimen. So he calls the urn a beautiful specimen of Greek art. Attic shape, fair attitude. So he calls the urn a beautiful specimen of Greek art, with bread of marble men and maidens overwrought. Overwrought means decorated. He calls the urn a beautiful specimen of Greek art, and he says that on the urn there are the pictures of men and women. Maidens means women. So there are the pictures of men and women on the urn. So the urn is decorated with the pictures of men and women. And do you know that urn is made of marble? That's why the word marble has been used. So there are the pictures of men and women. The urn is decorated with the pictures of men and women, and the urn is made of marble. And what is there on the urn? With forest branches and the trodden weed. Means on the urn, there are also the pictures of a forest. Forest means trees. Means there are the pictures of leaves, forest leaves. Because I described at the beginning of this lecture that there is the bordering of flowers on the urn. So here he's talking about the bordering of flowers. And that's why he says that on the urn, there are also the pictures of flowers, leaves, and the trodden weed. Trodden, I think, do you know, trampled weed. So he says that the urn is decorated with the pictures of men and women, and with flowers and leaves. That's the meaning of first three lines. Now, what is the meaning of these two lines? Thou silent form. He calls the urn silent. Why? Because the urn can't speak. There are so many pictures on the urn, but he calls the urn silent. Why? Because the urn can't speak. Dost tease out of thought as doth eternity. What is the meaning of this line? John Keats says that it's really difficult to understand the urn as it's difficult to understand eternity. Eternity, do you know? Permanence. Eternity stands for immortality. So he says that as it is difficult to understand eternity, similarly, it is difficult to understand the urn. Dost tease out of thought, as doth eternity, means it's really difficult to understand the urn, as it's really difficult to understand eternity. Cold pastoral. So he calls the urn cold pastoral. Why does he call the urn cold? Why? Because the urn is made of marble, and you know that marble is cold, and that's why he calls the urn cold. And why does he call the urn pastoral? Pastoral means rural. Actually, on the urn, there are the pictures of rural life, and that's why he calls the urn pastoral. So, cold pastoral. Now, what does he say in the next line? When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other void than ours, a friend to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all. Ye know on earth, and all ye need to know. Means now he says, when old age shall die, shall this generation waste. Waste means die. He says that when due to old age, the present generation will die. When due to old age, the present generation will die, he says that the urn will survive in this world. That shall remain in midst of other void than ours, means when due to old age, the present generation will die, the urn will survive. It will exist. It will exist in this world, in the middle of sorrows and suffering of future generation. You know, in midst of other void than ours, means future generation. He says that the urn will survive in the middle of sorrows and suffering of future generation. So future generation will also suffer sorrow and suffering, and the urn will still exist. It will still survive in the middle of sorrows and suffering of future generation. And he says that like a true friend, a friend to man, to whom thou sayest. And he says that the urn will act like a friend, and like a friend, the urn will teach a moral lesson to the future generation. Now, what is that moral lesson? The urn will teach the people, beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all. Ye know on earth, ye mean you know on earth, and all ye need to know. That he says that the urn will teach a lesson to the future generation, that whatever is true in this world is beautiful, and what is beautiful in this world must be true. Means beauty and true, they are same, they are one, they are same, and they are one and same. Means what is true in this world is beautiful, and what is beautiful in this world must be beautiful. That is the lesson the urn will give to the future generation. Ye know on earth, and all ye need to know. And he says that the people, they know this thing on this earth, and all the people, they must know this thing. In other words, the message of these two lines are Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That is a philosophy in Indian society. So that is an idea in Indian philosophy. So the same idea is presented by John Keats through the last two lines, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Means the truth is always beautiful, and what is beautiful, that must be true. So in this way, John Keats, he proves the permanence of art, that the urn will survive even when this generation die, the next generation comes, and the next generation suffers from sorrows and suffering, but the urn will survive, and it will continue giving masses to the human beings. So that's all about this poem, Ode on Grecian Urn. So I hope that you will be able to understand this lecture.